All right.
Becoming a domestic terrorist in the Air Force.
Yeah, no doubt. Hey, everybody. Welcome to a new and another episode of CMCT, Change Your Mind, Change Your Thinking. I am your host, Joyce Skinner. Next to me is my co-host, the man with the plan.
Antonio Dean.
Yeah, that's my man right there, no doubt. Yes, and so I know you guys probably missed us last week. Last week we had some technical difficulties on Tuesday.
It was real technical.
Yeah, it was unfortunately technical. And so we weren't able to do a full show because our guest couldn't sign in and join us. And we wanted to make sure that it was a show based on having a guest on. So
Correct.
We're going to round about that probably next week or the week after, and see if we can do it again and reach out to.
We're gonna make it more seamless for our guests, so they don't have to do nothing but show up.
Yeah. Okay. So that's going to be the plan. And forgive me if I sound a little nasally and congested. After Tuesday, I don't know if it was Tuesday or Wednesday, man. I got hit by something really bad. It was a flu, and knocked me off my feet, man. And I'm very big on isolating and staying away from people when you're in the contagious stage of being sick. So I'm usually the type I'll go crawl into a cave, man. And
Quarantine.
Yeah, man. And unfortunately, I have a mom who she's very benevolent and is very big on taking care of her children, no matter what their age is. And she got sick from my sickness. And I always looking at her, always tell her, I don't understand you. Because I wouldn't be, when someone else is sick, I'm like, yo, stay away from me. Because it's nothing for me to get sick, man. You could just talk to me about sickness and all of a sudden I'm sick. And it's been like that since I was a kid, man. I was probably the youngest kid with damn cold sores, man. Yeah, I got it. And I couldn't understand, why I was sick all the time, man. It was just, that's just the way it is for some of us, man. Some of us, we get sick. And so it knocked me off my feet. And I'm back to about 75%.
A number that has been scientifically calculated,
Yeah, pretty much. Well, I know if I got assaulted, I can handle myself. That's how I look at it. That's 75%, 75%. So I didn't even get to really engage and enjoy my 39th anniversary for martial arts, which was last Friday. I wanted to do a show on that on Thursday when we do pop culture, but none of that was feasible. None of that was possible, man. I just stayed home and got up under the covers and worked on the deliverables for a new life as much as I possibly could. But anyway,
back to the top.
Right back to the top. So
top of the year, all of that.
Yeah, my man Antonio and E-Love, they held down the fort here. E-Love held down the fort. They held down the fort here at the complex. Lord knows I missed them. But I'm the type where I won't even. Hey, Joan, welcome. I won't even reach out to people, man. I don't even want to be bothered. I don't want to bother nobody. People be like, let me bring you something. And I'm like, nah, man, just if I'm gonna die, let me die. Let me die if I'm gonna die. But thank God, man, it's behind me now, and I'm gonna do everything I can to get strong for the rest of the season because, it's like a deer. If you see one, But anyway, so forgive me if my voice sounds a little, and I know I can hear it, sounds a little, cardboardy and sandpaperish and sugary.
Desertish.
Granule sugar, man. Brown sugar right now. My voice sounds horrible. But
I don't know. Brown sugar is pretty good, man. They gotta, you gotta go one of these days. Yeah. Like lemonade. Yeah. Alamo Draft House in San Antonio.
Oh,
everybody
I've heard
listening.
Alamo.
Alamo Draft House in San Antonio.
Okay.
The one off of Marbach and the 14. They got a brown sugar lemonade. Knock your socks
good.
off.
Okay.
And get it with no ice.
Okay.
It's a big ass cup anyway, but still get it with no ice. You want to enjoy as much of that It's a brown sugar lemonade. That shit is good.
Yeah.
Best lemonade I ever had.
We're lemonade connoisseurs here, so we're very we tore up that. What was it? Slims. We tore that lemonade up, man.
Yeah.
The cranberry
lemonade. That cranberry lemonade is stupid.
It was ridiculous. I was mad I didn't take more when I got home.
Man, look.
Yeah. So, if you're watching us tonight, thank you for tuning in. We appreciate you guys. Big shout out to our contributors, Joe Moten and Claudia. Thank you guys for always contributing and being a major part of Change Your Mind, Change Your Thinking. Big shout out to Lady Muse for always catching our shows. She is our day one.
Resident viewer,
man. And we can't do a show without Lay. So I know you guys missed us last week, but we're back. And we are definitely going to be getting it in tonight. Tuesdays, a topic. What's that?
I'm responding. This has been years.
Yeah, Tuesday is the topic of the week, which tonight you already know what the topic is. Is basically, are you guys ignorant? Y'all some ignorant folks out there, man. And so we're going to be talking about that and dissecting that. Thursday is our pop culture night, in which we got a lot to talk about, man. We got to catch up.
A bunch of shit.
Hey, man, we were ahead of Pink Book. Yeah. We were ahead of Pink Book lessons on some stuff this week.
I seen that.
Yeah.
And we would have beat her to the punch.
We would have beat her to the punch.
One of these days. Maybe a collaboration or something.
Yeah, no doubt. But I was like, oh, okay, we were ahead. So, a little bit of head start sometimes is always good for people who had their own talk shows because, we're talking about anything and everything. But we definitely want to make sure that you guys are. She said, y'all so funny, y'all can start now. I give the thumbs up. Yeah, thank you, Lay. We always want to be talking about stuff that everybody else ain't just talking about. But, we just recap and just make everything happen. So, with that out of the way, we are still looking to get everybody caught up with our safe,
the raffle.
Okay, so if you're on YouTube, you can see our safe that we're raffling off.
It's a beautiful safe.
It's an amazing
It's big safe. Enough to fold somebody up, stuff them in there. Especially if it's child size person.
Safekeeping.
Yeah, safekeeping.
Safekeeping.
Keep a whole bunch of shit in there.
Yeah, no doubt. It is a great safe. It is something that you definitely want to be raffling in regards to it. Let me give you some specs on the safe.
It's a beautiful safe.
It's a beautiful safe. The EL310 is a 2-hour fire-resistant home and document safe. Okay?
As safes do.
Yes. And is 2-hour fire resistance means that the internal temperature will reach up to 350 degrees if the safe is in a fire for 2 hours at 1875 degree max in external temperature. So that means with 1,875 degrees maximum external temperature outside the safe, it will hold up to that. If the safe remains in a fire over 2 hours at 1875 degrees, the internal temperature will rise above 350 degrees, which can tarnish or burn paper items. So at that point, if after 2 hours, you better make sure.
Pull it out of that lava.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Dive in the volcano and pull the safe out of that lava.
It's got easy programming. It takes 4 AA batteries external, and it will retain your code if the batteries die or are changed out. So, something you definitely want to look into getting is some raffle tickets so that you can be a part of what we got going on with this this safe here.
Speaking of raffle tickets, let's see. We can show them on YouTube real quick. Can we not? Sorry if you're not on YouTube. Switch that real quick. So let's see. Raffle tickets. You can tip and the following amounts to receive the corresponding amount of tickets. It says we're raffling off a brand new $750 Stillwater safe. Please leave your contact information in the comment when you pay. Ticket options. $5 will award you 1 ticket. $10 will award you 3 tickets, $20 will award you 7 tickets, $50 will award you 20 tickets, and $100 will award you 50 tickets. So please go ahead and go to Linktree's website, scroll down to the bottom, click in the search box, and type in CMCT_show so you can join the raffle for an opportunity to win this beautiful safe.
It's almost $600 safe.
Yep.
So you can't beat that. It's $575. And the shipping will be handled by Antonio. So he's offered to handle the shipping. So if you win this safe, if you raffle and you win this safe, it's pretty much a free safe other than the amount of money that you paid for the raffle tickets. So the more raffle tickets you get, the more opportunities you get to win the raffle, and you get to get the safe. So as of right now, we got one person who already had purchased some raffle tickets. Shout out to that person. And we're hoping that, you're the lucky winner if you believe in lucky. You know what I mean? So, yeah, the normal price of the safe is $750, but we got it for up to almost $600. So it's a good deal. All right. So we definitely got a lot to get into in regards to on Thursday. Thursday, you don't want to miss. You definitely want to be here on Thursday night. We're going to go in. It's probably going to be a nice, fun episode. It's going to be funny as hell, as it always is. Thursday night has just become just the night to just let loose.
It's like a sitcom.
Yeah, it is. It is. But thank you guys for coming in tonight. You can be anywhere, but you're here with us, and we appreciate you. And we hope that we mention something tonight that helps you and or enlightens you and brings you to another level of consciousness. So, that was smooth as fuck, wasn't it?
Yes, sir.
God damn. So, ignorant.
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 Ignorant as hell.
Ignorant. Let's get into the definition of what ignorant means.
How ignorant is you? Let's see. Let's go back a page. Ignorance. Directly from Google. Lacking knowledge or awareness in general. Uneducated or unsophisticated. He was told constantly that he was ignorant and stupid. Similar, uneducated, unknowledgeable, untaught, unschooled, untutored. Lacking knowledge, information, or awareness about a particular thing, discourteous or rude. That is the informal definition.
Mm-hmm. And that's probably why there's such
a negative connotation surrounding that word.
Yeah. I don't look at the word ignorant as being negative. Antonio,
you read a book or two.
Well, yeah, and you always talk about that words are power. Words have power and they have meaning in it. You
want to be definitive when using words, so that there is no confusion and there's no room for you to be misunderstood.
Mm-hmm. I mean, if you tell somebody, right? But I'm gonna let you go ahead and finish the other definitions. Yeah.
Ignorant, adjective, destitute of knowledge or education. If you don't know what destitute means, well, you might be a little ignorant. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead and use one of these fancy devices that we all have access to and find out what destitute means. Furthermore, resulting from or showing lack of knowledge or intelligence, unaware, uninformed. Urban Dictionary, because I thought that might be a little fun.
Yes, sir.
We like to have fun here.
Yes, sir.
As the white people say. Ignorant means that you have a lack of knowledge, information, or awareness about something in particular. Even Urban Dictionary is giving the actual definition of the term ignorant.
Yeah.
It does not mean that someone is ignoring you. If you believe that, you might be a little ignorant. You know what I'm saying? Lacking knowledge, slang, an insult used to describe another party as stupid and or prejudiced, often used incorrectly, as the most ignorant parties in a debate tend to call others ignorant to make up for their own lack of information or prejudices. Interesting.
Mm-hmm. When you go back to Urban, can you punch in ignorant?
Sure.
That spelling, ignorant. See if that pops up.
Let's see real quick.
Oh, no, yeah.
The G went first.
Yeah. Yeah, it did.
While ignorant implies doing or saying something foolish, not knowing any better, ignorant implies that the person knew damn well and chose to act foolish anyway. I will not read the sentence that they chose. You know what I'm saying?
You got to.
They wanted to use the word in a sentence.
You got to read it, man. They got to see what they...
Well, let's see. That ignorant bitch took off with the car after I told her I needed to use it. He was trying to use his girlfriend's car, and she ran off with it anyway.
Wow.
How fucking selfish. You know what I'm saying? How selfish can you be? Anyway, let's see. Ignorance from Wikipedia, and then we'll continue after this. Ignorance is a lack of knowledge and understanding. The word ignorant is an adjective that describes a person in the state of being unaware or even cognitive dissonance and other cognitive relation, and can describe individuals who are unaware of important information or facts. Ignorance can appear in 3 different types: factual ignorance, absence of knowledge of some fact; object ignorance, unacquaintance with some object; and technical ignorance, absence of knowledge of how to do something. Ignorance can have negative effects on individuals and societies, but can also benefit them by creating within them the desire to know more. For example, ignorance within science opens the opportunity to seek knowledge and make discoveries by asking new questions, though this can only take place if the individual possesses a curious mind. Studies suggest that adults with an adequate education who perform enriching and challenging jobs are happier and more in control of their environment. The confidence that adults obtain through the sense of control that education provides allows those adults to go for more leadership positions and seek for power throughout their lives. So, those are the consequences concerning ignorance.
Yeah. But if a person knows and accepts that they're ignorant,
if you knew better, you do better.
Yeah, true.
That's where it comes from.
And I've heard people in conversations say, "Well, I was just ignorant to the fact." That's a very common phrase. They don't take it as a bad thing.
I should hope not.
Right?
But again, those are people who have read a little bit.
And they understand the definition correctly.
They understand, you got to know the definitions of the words that you're using. You must know the meaning so that you're never misunderstood when expressing yourselves.
I think a lot of times we as human beings are guilty of consistently using words in a negative connotation and taking those words and destroying their true intent. You know what I mean? By taking those words and using them negatively. So in essence, ignorant became a negative connotation, a negative word, primarily because people were insulting each other with the word.
Correct.
And not using it how it really is.
A lot of people who consider themselves well-read also have a tendency to stroke their own proverbial penises based on how intelligent they believe that they are.
Mm-hmm. Oh, no, I know I'm ignorant about certain things. I'm very honest with that. I don't have a problem.
I know everything.
Let's see. Lady Muse said ignorance is bliss is a big one. Well, okay,
Let's
so
bring that up. Why not?
Yeah, okay. We're going to bring that up since you spoke about that, Lay. A lot of times people are ignorant on purpose, and I'm going to get to that because good-looking people are notorious for that shit.
Sure. Pretty privileged.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't I?
Yeah. Child, I did not know he was into me. I had no, bitch, what you talking about? Yo, I ain't know, man.
That's feigning
I ain't know.
ignorance.
Like, I didn't know she was, I didn't know she was feeling me like that.
It's a proverb. Ignorance is bliss is a proverb. If you do not know about something, you do not worry about it. Blissful ignorance. Fortunate unawareness of something unpleasant.
Fortunate unawareness of something unpleasant. That's interesting.
That's
so
very
ignorance
interesting.
is bliss and blissful ignorance. But, okay, so you just said that. You didn't you?
Yeah, in a sense. The fortunate unawareness, it kind of plays into what I said, but I was saying that the people who are feigning ignorance are
that's
doing
the
it
word
on
used,
purpose.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but
They're doing it on purpose.
Doesn't that equate
this
to
is more
blissful?
so?
I mean,
Well, it depends. How do you in that situation, how do you view your ignorance when you do find out? Or if you never find out, how do you know that it was fortunate? Right?
well, fortunate is that they don't have to recognize the truth of that.
Or they have no worries about it.
Because the thing is that if they address it, then they have to deal with it. Right. And a lot of people are horrible with confrontation. They are. They don't like to confront things. So if you're a good-looking dude or a good-looking woman and you got somebody, it's almost a form.
You get to pretend like pretty privileged. Knowing damn well You know what I'm saying?
She been cooking
you getting
you
them
ham
free
hocks.
meals and shit.
She been cooking you ham hocks and cornbread consistently and bringing it to your job, but you just, we just friends.
Clearly. What else is friendship?
That's the friend zone, right? She keeping you in the friend zone. He keeping her in the friend zone.
He's not keeping her in the friend zone. He's building a friendship.
I said, listen, when I was in LA, I saw it a lot with people in the industry, like, because I would tell them right off the bat, especially if they were hanging out with somebody, I'm like, this person's into you. Oh, no, it ain't like that at all. They got somebody and this and that. And I would say, well, you playing ignorant, like, you playing ignorant, like you playing ignorant. What's the root word of it? Is it ignore? That's interesting to know.
Let's see.
It is.
Yep.
Yeah.
Ignorare. Ignorant.
Mm-hmm. In the English
not
word
knowing
to ignore.
And ignores in English.
Yeah. Okay.
Which would kind of that explains the verb therein, according to ignorant. Mm-hmm. You ignore that these things exist, right? Mm-hmm. Which may not always be on purpose.
All right. Well, are you guys out there listening? And we would love to get you guys to chime in and have your opinion being read and or spoken about. What is your thought on ignorance? On, have you yourself been accused of being ignorant? Would you consider yourself ignorant about certain things?
Is you ignorant?
Is you ignorant? Is you
ain't.
Ignorant.
My dad tells me, he been telling me since I was a kid I was ignorant as hell. But for my comedy, not for my lack of knowledge.
Well, I've learned your comedy, man. Like, when you get friends with people, when you become friends with people, I believe it's very important that you learn the levels of comedy that you have with each person, right?
Agreed.
Like, I don't laugh at everything that people send me or everything that everybody does, but I start to recognize
their humor.
Yeah, and so when I see something, I go, oh, okay, yeah, I know they'll love it. It's like I just sent you the Barney one. I knew you would love it. I knew
that shit was ignorant.
I knew. I said, he gonna love this.
And I found dude on YouTube. He got a couple episodes up
there.
Oh,
does he? Yeah. Does he? Okay. So, we as a culture, we took the word ignorant and made it more slang.
Well, we tend to morph a lot of things in the way that we would like to.
Yeah,
because or the way that we would like them to be used.
Because we would throw that line at somebody who was coming up with comedy, right? And we'd be like, nigga, you ignorant. You ignorant as hell. You ignorant as hell with your comedy. So, are we dispelling the mythos surrounding ignorant as it being a bad word, or?
I don't think so, because their informal definitions matter too, and the only thing that an informal definition really is overall is just slang.
Discourteous or rude, this ignorant pin brain receptionist.
Oh, funny. But yeah, no, I mean it's an informal definition is essentially just slang. Mm-hmm. So is there really much to dispel?
Yeah, but we spice it up though as a culture.
So man, I wish we had time and we fucking don't. But I was watching a video earlier, a video that Dan Calloway did on what language came before English, right? And he was talking about the Phoenicians and how most recorded languages with alphabets were actually trade languaes.
Okay.
And they were created so that people around the world could somehow communicate with each other or with one another. And then that turned into people choosing to stick to one. So then they call them pidgin languages and so forth, right? The reason that English was created was because the native languages here had or at least they, from their perspective, they felt like the natives had so many different words for one thing. He said, okay, we got to kind of consolidate this, right? So then that's where we got English. It's a whole thing. I don't have time to sit here and break that down, but I wanted to kind of share that. So if that's something that you're interested in, go to Dan Calloway's page. It's one of his one of the last videos that he put up. But yeah, so same thing with informal definitions. I mean, I could say something that on the West Coast means something completely different from what it would mean on the East Coast.
Very true.
So does that dispel it? I don't know. How important is the English language to you?
Well, Joe Moulton said, yes, I'm ignorant on some issues, not in a negative sense, just lacking knowledge on some things.
Correct.
Yeah, but I think it takes a person that understands the knowledge of that to accept that and be honest about that.
So maybe instead of dispelling, we're bringing light to the importance of educating yourself on the different definitions of every word. Because the English language is fucking vast.
It's vast. Yeah.
It's humongous.
Yeah.
So you don't want to lock yourself in a box by hearing a word once, and the context in which you heard it, you think that that's the only definition. It may not be so. So it is important to educate yourself. You know, like I say all the time on the show, you got thousands of dollars worth of technology in your pocket. It only takes you a few seconds to Google a word.
Yeah.
And see what it actually means.
Well, that's something that I had definitely did. You should have a specific app on your phone, and the dictionary is definitely something you should have on them. Yeah.
Word of the days.
Yeah. And you know, you can do that. You can set it up in your phone that the word of the day definition
pops up as one of them notifications like everything else. Why not?
When I was growing up, I had saw, and it's unfortunate in the black community primarily, to be uneducated is pushed as a thing that's great, you know, in school.
Yeah.
I was on the honor roll, and I'm not sure if I told you this story before, but
this nigga hella smart. Look at him reading books.
Yeah.
a stupid kid calling a smart kid stupid for reading books.
Yeah,
this nigga getting good grades.
Back in the day, we had got and you know, it was a surprise. We had got, you know, these Converse, high top Converse, black on white,
Chucks.
leather Converse. No,
Not
Converse,
Chucks?
not Chucks. Converse, leather. You have to understand, leather upper Converse, ankle high. Yeah, you can go look them up.
I had a pair. If you're talking about what I think you're talking about.
Yeah, man. Later Muse said English is just straight up stolen, laughing out loud. Root word, prefixes, suffixes.
Oh yeah, there's a whole thing behind it. So if I could real quick, the whole purpose of them, and there's a word for it, something synthesis. I forget what the term was, but they were merging the languages really to force public education, because you know, this is the first time in human history there's been organized education. They forced it on the natives to wash their languages away from them.
Yeah, of course. That's the easiest way to program.
So the whole 5 civilized tribes thing, if you know anything about the 5 civilized tribes, or if you don't, you want to go do the research, there's a whole thing behind that and how they forced it on our people to, you know, take their languages from them.
You might want to punch in 1982, because
But go ahead.
But anyway, I had got these. Yeah, that's them. Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah. So they were black on white, man. The ones that I had. They don't even have a good photo of them. They're just so out of date. Oh, there. Yeah. And I got those because I was on honor roll. Me and 3 other kids. And there they go, right there in the corner, up there. Yep. And I had got a nice pair. I had got a nice pair of them, man. And you know, they called us to the principal's office. We didn't know why they called us, and then when we got back, you know, you have the box. You know, one of the kids look over and he goes, "Shockley and Ali gonna take your sneakers after school." And I was just like, "What?" And I was terrified, man, because you know I couldn't fight at this time. You know, this was still elementary school.
Can't open them,
you know what I'm saying? This was I think I was 12 years old, man. And Shockley and Ali were related to Tyson. His cousins, like, whether they were cousins by blood or cousins by, by name. But, yeah, man, they were going to take my sneakers. So I was like, and one of my other boys was like, look, man, tie them really tight around your feet. So that way, if they flip you.
Around the ankles.
Yeah, around the ankles, they flip you, it would be hard for them to take them off. Right? And I was like, nah, that's not going to work. You know what I'm saying? Because I can't fight a little bit. And so I said, oh, man, what am I going to do, man? So it's that looking at the clock, waiting for it to count down, man. And everybody looking at me like, oh, what you...
loud as shit.
Yeah. And finally the bell goes off. And my smart ass, instead of going out the front, I could see them standing there waiting. They were standing there waiting. I don't even know how they knew before I got back to the class. But they were standing out there waiting.
Everybody was talking about it.
Yeah, they were standing out there waiting. They were going to take my sneakers. So instead of me going in that direction, there was an older black teacher, this woman, sister, never figured her. She had glasses, very nice. And I was like, can I go out with you to the teacher's, exit? And she was like, yeah, huh? And I was like, great. So I went out. I went out back that way. She went to her car. I turned. I looked at the corner. They were still standing there. And I ran back. Yeah. But this is the catch. So I'm running. I run to my the project. I run to where my building is at. And my brother's standing there, right? And mind you, he got on a pair of brand new Nikes. Now they weren't. Y'all call them Nikes. We used to call them Nikes, right? He got some silver on black track Nikes. Okay, but they were Nikes back then. Suede, nice. Because my brother was always big on having the nice sneakers. He had to be clean. And he was like, what's wrong with you? And I was like, Shockley and Ali was going to take my sneakers. He was like, what? Now, mind you, they saw me running, so they all started coming in my direction. My brother was like, what? He looked, he came off that stoop, he went down there. He was like, y'all going to take my brother's sneakers? He put his foot out, he said, take mine. And they started fighting. So before that, he told me, go upstairs. And I was like, yeah, but Kirk, he's like, go upstairs. So I went upstairs, I ran upstairs, and I told my mom, I said, Kirk down there fighting. She was like, what? We could hear everybody running around the corner, a crowd of people, and you could see them chasing my brother, throwing bottles. One got a chain. They chasing him down the street. We're on the balcony watching this on the terrace. And they're running. And my mom is freaking out because she's figuring out how she's going to put her clothes on down there to go down there and fight these people, help my brother. Me, I can't do shit because I ain't nothing at that age. And a moment goes by, and we hear the crowd coming back. My brother got the bottle. He throws it at the dude. He's got the chain, swinging it at, he's fighting 3 guys, swinging it at him. Whooping their ass, man. From that day forth, no one ever messed with my family.
Beautiful.
He established that don't mess with my family. But the reason why I'm saying this story is because how horrible it was that here I was in the 6th grade doing all I could to establish myself with knowledge as a means of how you get out of the hood. And these brothers were going to steal something that I received from doing great work. So it makes you, it's an unconscious thing. It makes you not want to do great work because it's like, well, what's the point? Why do this if they're going to steal and take from me what I earned?
Right.
It establishes it very early on in who you are as a youth in the black community, specifically speaking in the black community. I don't know anything about what's going on in the white community, but for me, it was always like, yeah, it was, and that to me was horrible. And it was always a thing of you had to hide the fact that you were smart growing up because you didn't know how you were going to be received or what other cats out of their envy and jealousy were going to do to you because of your sense of knowledge. So for me, I got to a point where I realized that school wasn't the answer. I learned, and I had more trouble in senior year than any other years. And primarily, I had more trouble in senior year because, you got a lot going on in life.
Yeah.
Black kid in the project. But I would also say, too, that the library was my best friend.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I always knew that if I needed answers, we didn't have internet at that time. And the last year of, I think, 87 is when internet started really happening, where people could have access to computers. But you didn't have a home computer. If anything, you had a Nintendo before you would have a home, or a ColecoVision or something. You didn't have a home computer. You had encyclopedias. And I don't know if you're too young to remember this, but they used to come by the house and sell encyclopedias.
My mom has, even still to this day, about 4 different sets.
Wow.
To include from her grandparents.
That's priceless. And you know what? Because of how they're changing all the knowledge and information, she better hold on to that. That's an heirloom. I know my mom got some in storage. It'd be interesting to see
the difference in how the information is presented in the next 20 or 30 years versus what's written in those books.
Yes. What do you think was one of the greatest things you learned in school?
One of the greatest things that I learned in school? Mm-hmm. Well, as a well-studied adult, now today, I'm going to leave it at math. I'm going to say math is one of the most important things that I learned in school. Mm-hmm. I didn't learn too much that I think is valuable here today. Mm-hmm. Not academically. Mm-hmm. Aside maybe from some black history because of the schools that I went to, but I personally didn't think that there was much valuable in school other than English, learning English and understanding poetry and art. And that's why I just said math. I say math. Mm-hmm. Math made me helped me to develop critical thinking skills. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Being sharp. Yeah. 2 things I learned in school that I never forget. And I think one is highly valuable, especially in today's world. The process of elimination. And I learned that in science class. And I think that's the problem that we're having with people who are on 2 different sides of things nowadays, which gets people to have the accusation of ignorance on one side or the other. Process of elimination, it was taught to me in a way where it's like there's a stench in a room. How do we find out what the stench is?
Deductive reasoning.
Deductive reasoning. And if you look at the world, right, you look at what's going on. I mean, we can't talk too much about it without getting a strike against us.
Getting into a whole nother tangent and shit.
Yeah.
It's white people's.
Why is it that we don't have a higher level of deductive reasoning? Like, if you look what's going on.
Right now, today?
Yeah, I mean, bro.
There are plenty of reasons why we don't.
Yeah.
Collectively.
Yeah. Well, go ahead and start with a couple. Hold on real quick. A lady Muse said she owns some. Oh, you got encyclopedias? Yeah. Yeah.
Old school family.
Yeah. I mean, it's an heirloom in my opinion, but go ahead, brother.
Yeah. The question again, really quick. Why don't we have?
Yeah, what do you think is the essence of what causes that to not, like, because for me the process of elimination, right? Like it made a lot of sense. Like I'm a very simplistic person, right? I mean I have different levels of knowledge and different levels of seeing things a certain way, but common sense is common sense, and that stayed with me. Process of elimination. When I learned that, I think it was first year in junior high, process of elimination. I learned that shit in elementary.
More than likely.
Yeah. There is a smell in the room, and then eventually at the end of it, you find out there's a mouse behind a refrigerator that's dead.
We get to be more terse about attacking the problem to find a solution.
Yeah.
Today, that's not exactly an option.
Yeah.
So many different obstacles just to be able to get something started or get started figuring something out, because you don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. You don't want to harass someone, or so many different things. You don't want to trigger anybody and all of this kind of bullshit, right? But I think the answer to that is convenience. Mm-hmm. Humans have too many conveniences for anything complex to matter. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Time to go get groceries. Let me write out a list. You know, I got to plan this out. I got to make sure I get this errand taken care of. Mm-hmm. Now it's just on an app. Mm-hmm. I want this, I want this, I want this, I want that. All right, cool. And then you can take a nap and wait for your groceries to show up. Mm-hmm. You know, that takes a lot of ambition, takes a lot of focus away, takes a lot of responsibility away from the human. Mm-hmm. Takes a lot of human interaction away from the human.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. For me, the other thing was who, what, where, when, why, and how. Right. Which kind of is the cousin of deductive reasoning, or
essentially that's the elementary school introduction to the scientific process.
Right.
Going towards middle and high school.
Yeah. I mean, we have people dying every day, and it's just like, why is it that nobody can recognize? And it's usually like the sports people, and it's because they maximize the effort and usage of their hearts and their blood flow and their blood pressure. So we know what's causing that. That's just a very simple thing. Lady Muse said, students aren't taught how to take tests anymore, let alone hold an actual face-to-face conversation. Hey, Nomadic Nobody, what's up, brother? Question, how are things going on? You're overseas. How are things going on? And especially, I know you watch football, soccer. What are you seeing in regards to the loss of life over there, in regards to cardiac arrest and stuff like that? I'd love for you to chime in on that, because I know you're going to tell us the truth. When you're talking about the search and the thirst for knowledge, do you think it's a thing that has to be instilled by the parents, or is it a thing that even if you're not taught it? Because for me, my mom was always generally a very knowledgeable person. She went back to school and got her GED, and then went to college and even got credits at Harvard. So I've always been impressed with that, because, she had 5 boys, and, she was making everything happen, and still got to college and got her degree, bachelor's degree, if I'm correct.
Well, now more than ever, it is extremely important for the parents to prioritize instilling these sort of practices and values in children. However, those will be combated with by the world today. Again, the conveniences that technology affords us as humans it's almost what is the word? Inexplicable. Again, if I'm hungry, I don't have to go do nothing. I just pull out my phone. You know what I mean? If I want to know something, yes, it's a huge convenience and it's nice, but huge difference between me being like, damn, I wonder what this is. Well, let me set aside some time this weekend to go down to the library, or let me make sure I finish my homework early so I can make it to the library before they close after school today, and go pick up, some encyclopedias and find the answer to this. That's not even, the kid probably wouldn't even understand you breaking down that process to them.
Yeah, because I think for me, the library was a form of escapism. It wasn't just a thing of I wanted to be smart. It was a form of escapism, a form of finding answers. And I think what we have to do, as not only as people, but as a community, we have to reignite that in children. We have to reignite that in people, to the simplicity of, okay, hey, you want to answer to something, look it up. I mean, that's how I would say the majority. Yeah, I trained with some of the best people in the world when it came to martial arts, but my martial art library is fucking extensive. One day I'll bring it into the complex so everybody can see the library of books. There's so many books. Nomadic Nobody said, I don't watch football. And no one is no one is really talking about sudden death over here. I wonder why. So when it comes to lack of knowledge, or the desire to know that you need to equip yourself, because regular public schools, for you guys who are watching and you have children, they are just programming places, man. That's all they are. They're programming
That's
farms.
why they were designed, yeah.
Yeah, to program your children to have, even colleges.
Well, even now, these conveniences are a form of programming.
Yeah.
The amount of young minds that I mentor, one of the biggest arguments, or maybe not argument, but misunderstandings, I would say, or disagreements that we have. So, man, you got to make sure you get your license. You're about to turn 18, or you're 22, you're 23. It's time for you to get your license.
In Georgia, yeah.
You know, why haven't you gotten your license yet? Why do I need a license? I just Uber.
Or somebody can drive me.
Yeah, somebody will pick me up. Why the fuck why would I get a car for myself and, you know, make it my responsibility to have transportation somewhere?
Mm-hmm. Or even to write a check. I didn't know how to write a check until 23 or 24. At a time when checks were still written.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't know how to write a check. I didn't know how to balance my checkbook.
And maybe that was me being like, nigga, the world is too convenient to write checks. That probably was me just now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Same thing, man.
Yeah.
But we're moving away from a physical world to a digital world, and you know, I think that comes with a lot of cost, and it's definitely going to reshape mankind, reshape human interaction, reshape human focus. Look at the way, I say it all the time, man. If you look at some of these kids who can't even walk yet, and they have a tablet in their hand or a phone in their hand, they can't read. They know what the YouTube icon looks like. They know what whatever game icons look like. Can't read, but they know how to go to wherever they need to get to. They know how to turn it up, turn it down, turn it on, turn it off. You know, that's normalcy for a young mind right now.
Yeah.
Normalcy, you know, when I was 6 and 7 was, damn, this is figuring out how to turn the radio on and move the antennas and all of that shit.
Yeah, put a record on a record player.
You know, it's different. It's gonna be different. Is it good or is it bad? Does it make them? It makes them ignorant to how things used to be, or the way that, or is the way that things used to be. Should it be valuable to them or of any value to them? I'm not sure. I can't say. Maybe in another 50 years or so, I'll have a better, case study to go off of. But
well, I think it's a thing of having that knowledge in order to appreciate what you have. I'm firmly big on technology, and I appreciate the opportunity to. It's funny. I saw a meme, and they were saying that everything in the Jetsons has come to pass.
Just about, yeah.
You know, now the cars, they have cars now.
These robots are smart as shit.
Yeah.
Vacuums are smart as shit.
Yeah, vacuums, but they have cars now where the car will actually take you to your destination.
Yeah.
And somebody tagged me on that recently, and I was just like, man, that's crazy. Nomadic Nobody said, Asian culture is very obedient and mostly unquestioning. I often get funny looks for not having taken the bloop bloop. In an age of information, ignorance is a choice. Wow.
For the most part, I would agree.
Wow.
But then again, when we go down to 4 or 5 toddlers, the adolescents in general, is it ignorance? Is it a choice of ignorance with them? Or is it, this is what has been presented to me. This is how the world has been presented to me. This is my baseline.
Right, but
is that a choice of ignorance?
Okay, so you and I, we could take ourselves for an example. You know, we've talked about this before, raised in environments where the odds are pretty much against you in a sense. You know, your parents give you all that they can. When did you make the choice? Because you said it's a choice. When did you make the choice to be like, yo, I want more for myself. I want better.
Man, I was in books already. You know, my mom and dad were serious about books. They were, while everybody else, again, you know, it was the 2000s and everybody's got MP3s and CD players and all of this shit, and my parents was like, "Nah, nigga, here goes this Walkman." You know what I'm saying? I had the big ass yellow, the yellow and gray with that funky color of green or the funky color of purple. That little shit on there, I had those with the Walkman with tapes. You know what I'm saying? I still got tapes.
Me too. Yeah.
But that's what I was given a few generations after you, and I don't think necessarily because we couldn't afford anything else.
Was it an appreciation thing?
Or excuse me, I don't think it was them trying to force that on me to show me how to appreciate what came before. I think it was because we didn't have much. They gave us what they had left from their childhood. And
it worked.
Forth, you know,
it still worked.
And then we buying shit from crackheads. So eventually, I got a PlayStation and different shit like that.
Did y'all ever get caught out there with bricked up VHRs?
Yeah.
VCRs?
Yeah.
VHRs?
Yeah. Come on, man.
Brick packed.
You know. You buy a whack ass bootleg tape or DVD and find some raggedy shit on there that ain't even, you know what I'm saying? Of course, you know, but I don't think that was a conscious tactic by them putting those things in our hands. It's just what we had at the time.
Right, of course.
So if they had, because they came from nothing too, if they had already elevated to a point where they could have DVDs, they could have the new. You know, we didn't get a lot of that shit until like 2008, 2009. You know what I'm saying? So when if that's the case, what if they did have it earlier in the 2000s? You know, I seen it with some of my cousins. You know, I would be around them and shit, but then I go home and well, nigga, I'm back on Atari.
What I got,
I'm back on Sega. Everybody else is, you know what I'm saying? They doing different shit. So even by the time the PlayStation and the Dreamcast came out and those got discs. I'm on Sega, you know, or excuse me, I'm on Sega Genesis.
Right.
Excuse me. I got my Sega Genesis in like the year 2000, 2001, you know, and rest in peace to my aunt who got that for me. It was a beautiful gift, but that's how, and I think that was just circumstance. I don't think it had anything to do with them trying to show us, hey, don't be ignorant.
This appreciation.
You need, you know. I don't think that was anything that they were trying to force on us. So that's why I asked the question today, which I don't think they should be doing this. They should be putting books in these kids' hands first and teaching them how to read before they teach them how to use a fucking tablet.
Yeah, of course.
But if that is today's normalcy, how much of a crime is it that this is a child's baseline today versus what our baseline was, you know, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, 40, 50, and so forth?
I don't even think it stops with kids. I'll give you a prime example. So when you put something together, how many of you out there actually read the directions? I did that the other day, and he was like, oh, I don't ever read the directions. I'm like,
yeah, I'm going to disagree with you.
You got to read the directions. Because I found out something about...
At the very least, look... You know, you want to at least make sure it came with all the hardware.
Yeah, for care and for the usage of it.
Yeah.
And it was something that we put together and using it, and it was supposed to be oiled up before you use it.
I was gifted an electric tea kettle. I found out the word descaling. I didn't know that you're supposed to be fucking cleaning these electric tea kettles once a week. I was already just wiping it out just because before every use.
That's who you are.
But I didn't know that you're supposed to put some vinegar in there.
Right.
Put some baking soda or whatever. And boil it for a little bit and wipe it out.
Alkalines it, yeah.
I had no fucking idea.
Wow.
That's to protect it from rust and shit.
Yeah, of course.
And from bacteria and everything. You know, I had no idea. But I read the instructions. Even though this is like my 8th fucking electric tea kettle, you know, I had no idea.
See?
And it's the 8th, not because I've been breaking them, but because I be getting shit and then I see somebody else in need and I pass it on and just buy myself another one, you know.
Nomadic Nobody said, I am not a product of my environment. I am who I choose to be. Yes, I agree. Later Muse, DVD man is the staple in the black community. Laughing out loud. True. And curiosity and Google taught me more than a public school. Nomadic Nobody.
For sure. I agree with that.
Curiosity.
Man, when I got a computer, all the questions I had, the world just fucking opened up. Much, much quicker. Or it was of more value to me than the library because I came from the library.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And everything's already there. So, the library, I think the library for me was always a process of getting up, going, and, I would sit for hours,
a ritual
man.
of sorts.
Yeah, I would sit for hours, man. I knew the librarian's name. I knew the bibliography. I knew how to work, the what do you call it? I can't remember the name of it now, but the tabs that you go through in order to find. They have a name for it. But I knew how to work that, and I knew exactly where to...
Talking more with the little index?
Yes, the index cards.
Yeah, I forget what the fuck that thing is called.
That was something you had to be taught in order to be able to traverse the library.
Navigating the library.
To navigate the library, man.
It's a skill. I know right now if I had to go to the library,
you would find it.
I know how to go get it and where to go get it.
By looking at the codes, right? And so... what are we saying by all of this? What are we saying by all of this? Hey, Dior, what's going on? Anthony, what's going on? Lady Muse said, I tell every parent I know to get library cards. It's still an excellent resource. Yeah, and it's free. And it's not just for homeless people who ain't got no place to go or need to use actually, movies are free at the library. People don't realize that.
Yes, they are. Educational or otherwise.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's not just for you to be able to get out the rain or something like that. It's some libraries have a lot of rich history as well. And you can find a lot of anything there. I think a combination of the two. I'm very big on current technology. I
think people also need not neglect the importance of the history of libraries. Mm-hmm. World libraries.
Oh, yeah.
Academic libraries.
Yeah. And the fact that they've survived
historical
this long.
Libraries.
Man,
so many have been burned down.
Yeah, they would go in. Yeah, they would go in.
War tactic was to burn down somebody's fucking library.
Yeah.
That means something.
They would go in and burn down the libraries, the temples, everything. Anything that would elevate you as a human being, they would destroy it. That was their job.
But yeah, the burning down of so many different historical libraries, man, that's indicative of something. I can't tell you what to do with your time. I can't tell you what it means, but I am saying it's curious enough for you to go and look into.
Yeah.
And if you don't know the other definition of curious, well, you know what I'm saying? That's not my fault.
Just to step foot up into a library. It may be life-changing for some of these people. Mm-hmm. So... Joan said, as kids, we went to the library every Saturday morning after chores. Libraries were for knowledge, but also for entertainment. Yeah.
Yeah. To sit
there, I can still smell.
My dad used to come and hate on me and turn off the hallway light because I know I can't have my bedroom light on, but I know my sisters are scared at night to walk to the bathroom, so I'm using the hallway light to stay up and read my books. And he's like, this nigga in here, go to sleep. Because I'm always the last one to get dressed in the morning because I done been up all night reading books and shit, Can't watch TV and none of that. So reading books with the hallway light on or reading books by moonlight and just anything to stay up and be in this fucking book, that's a...
Want to finish it. Lady Muse said, my college library has the only records of the historic floods here in Sacramento. You can't take them out of that library. Yeah. That's a lot of libraries are like that. You can't take stuff out, even like newspaper records and stuff like that.
Because they're historical.
Yeah, historical.
And they'll link it to your ID, all of that shit. They have to protect that information.
He said, "I love that story, Antonio." He's talking about with the
Oh man, you can turn the hallway light off. I'd be so damn mad. But that's how my vision I think got better because I figured I'm reading in the dark. Fuck that. Any source of light I can get or adjusting my eyes to the dark because I got to at least let me finish this chapter before I go to sleep.
So
man,
I the reason why I had asked what was the greatest thing that you felt like you learned from school was because I think what happens is that people feel like there's nothing to learn. When I graduated
There's plenty to learn.
Yeah. I went back and thanked all my teachers, the ones that were either still there or still alive.
I still go back and visit my schools to this day, man.
What do we as a people have to do in order to help our community? Because I believe, especially the black community, is suffering so bad when it comes to that sense of ignorance of like they don't know better. You know, people always throw that phrase around, "My people perish for a lack of understanding." You know, what do you think has to happen? Is it because a lot of times what I find myself doing is correcting people in conversation, not so much personal conversation. I consider myself a keyboard warrior to an extent. Like, I firmly believe in the shake your sand off your sandals type of mindset. People are not getting it. You have to be very astute to knowing that this person is not understanding what you're saying, and they're not going to get it. Primarily on how they go back and forth with you.
Well, I think if we're talking about like social media and shit, I think it's very important. I get asked very often, man, why are you even wasting your time putting all of this effort into making these comments and explaining this shit to these people? Not because I think that the person who started the argument or the person who I believe needed the information is going to do anything with it, but because I know it's human tendency right now to read and sift through these fucking comments like crazy. Mm-hmm. So somebody who it can be of value to might come across it. Mm-hmm. So that's why I take my time and stupid motherfucker, didn't you? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And you can tell sometimes too, but when people will like your comment,
and that's nice too. But
it's not even that we do it for that, right?
It's somebody. One of Tupac's famous quotes, if I could change, if I could just spark the mind that does make the change. Mm. How can I do that if I'm not at least sharing the information in some way or another? Mm. And it's the same way when I'm out in public with people, when I'm teaching these children, interacting with adults in social circles and networking. I'm going to pass off as much information as I can, whether it benefits me or not, because somebody listening might be able to do something with it. I think that's important.
Yeah, opinions are important. I mean, there's an old phrase that says opinions are for assholes, but you know what? Actually, a lot of us are assholes.
We all are.
That's what I use the phrase throughout the week. Joe said, reading books under the sheets by
moonlight.
When I was supposed to be sleeping. Nobody said, the more that I learn, the more that I know nothing. Inspire them to want to know more. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. I always say, well, what do I know? I think that was one of the first things with E-Love when I met him. He was just like, he laughed his ass off, and I was like, hey, I would say this, hey, but what do I know? Yeah. What do I know? I mean, listen, when someone is astute and learned, the true being doesn't have to push their knowledge on you. They just offer it. And it's something that I told somebody recently. Everyone that comes your way may learn something from you, but they're not supposed to learn everything from you. Mm-mm.
There's no way that they could learn everything from you. You don't know everything.
Well, yeah, of course not, But I add to that, I always say, I don't know everything, but what I know well. And there's something that I was telling one of my friends earlier today on the phone. It's very important that you remind yourself of what you've accomplished and what you've been through in life. And there's a reason why. Because people who haven't been through much, or people who envy you, and you don't realize they envy you, a lot of times they will do what they can to enjoy in your suffering or your downfall or in your shortcomings in that moment. And so you have to remind yourself, it's good to say, hey, I was a person that was into the books. It's good to say, hey, I was a person who, pursued knowledge. There's nothing wrong with that.
Not at all.
It's nothing wrong with understanding, hey, I'm not a pushover because I understand the process of elimination. Can you look that up real quick, the process of elimination?
Sure. Come on over, YouTube guys.
process of elimination.
Just so y'all know, I can type without looking. It's just the keyboard be over here sometimes. Let's see. The process of elimination is a logical method to identify an entity of interest among several ones by excluding all other entities. In educational testing, it is a process of deleting options whereby the possibility of an option being correct is close to zero or significantly lower compared to other options. This version of the process does not guarantee success, even if only one option remains, since it eliminates possibilities merely as improbable. The process of elimination can only narrow the possibilities down, and thus, if the correct option is not amongst the known options, it will not arrive at the truth. Sure. The method of elimination is iterative. One looks at the answers, determines that several answers are unfit, eliminates these, and repeats until one cannot eliminate any more. This iteration is most effectively applied when there is logical structure between the answers. That is to say, when by eliminating an answer, one can eliminate several others. In this case, one can find the answers which one cannot eliminate by eliminating any other answers and test them alone. The others are eliminated as a logical sequence. This is the idea behind optimizations for computerized searches when the input is sorted, as, for instance, in binary search.
Mm-hmm. That's how computers work, pretty much.
Correct. I wish our brains are computers.
Yeah. So it's based on computers. Computers are based on the brain and how we work. And to me, it's just why am I focusing on that audience? It's primarily because a lot of times some of you guys are overlooking this simple thing here. Simplicity.
Of does this make sense?
Yeah, does this make sense?
Keep it simple, stupid.
KISS. Keep it simple, stupid. Does that take away from who we are as human beings if we're not able to at least have a base sense of process of elimination? No, it doesn't. It just means that you have to increase who you are in the knowledge of finding an easier way to be more systematic in your simplification of things. It's very important. We're at the 1 hour mark. We're going to give you guys our information in regards to the show. If you find it in yourself to want to donate to our cause and or even get some raffle tickets, we would greatly appreciate you guys and any help. We appreciate anyone that helps the show in any respect. And
send us a whole cow. We eat steak.
Well, you eat beef. I don't eat beef.
Well,
Chickens now, they're very expensive.
We'll hook him up with some beef broth so he can make a soup. At least.
Chickens and eggs nowadays, man.
Help us out. Am I reading this?
Yeah.
After I put on my chapstick.
Gotta get them lips right. Gotta get them right.
All right, guys. It's game time. Or so I've been told. I put on this chapstick not only because my shit was a little dry from drinking tea. Some teas are oxidized and they tend to suck some of the oxygen away from your lips or whatever the science is that I'm improperly explaining. But really just to get to this point that because the tea made my lips dry, I went ahead and put on chapstick. Why? Well, because I wanted this moment to be intimate. I wanted this moment to be very intimate.
You want you to hear the smacking in them lips.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? I wanted to get the ladies. When you get the ladies on board, the men follow, and then you got a whole community of people supporting you in this whole thing that we call social media, where you can find us on Instagram at CMCT_show. Again, our Instagram is at CMCT_show. We're also on Facebook at CMCT Show. It'll say change your mind, change your thinking on that Facebook page. Most importantly, find us on YouTube at CMCT_show. Pretty soon here, we will be migrating fully over to YouTube, so you might not see us on our individual Instagram pages, but you will find us on the CMCT_show Instagram page. So we're gearing up for that. Poise yourselves appropriately and find us on these other platforms. But most importantly, YouTube at CMCT_show. You know, just reiterating because repetitiveness is good for the brain. Mm-hmm. Now, speaking of that, repetitiveness, no relation at all, but I like the way it sounded. You can find us on Twitter at CMCT_show. We're also holders of a very valuable email handle, which is cmctshow@gmail.com. If you take that email, you can send us, you know what I'm saying? ... Send us some shit. Nah, you can email us some ideas, show topics, sponsorships, proposals. Like proposals. You know, propose what you will. Just make sure you email it to us at cmctshow@gmail.com. We also have a TikTok. We got some videos up there, some shorts. You know what I mean?
I've been consistent on that.
Yeah,
so,
there's some shit on TikTok. Go ahead and go to TikTok, click in their little search bar and type in CMCT_show. We'd greatly appreciate it. Now, the heavyweight portion of this announcement during this commercial or whatever you call it. Go to Linktree. They're a little complicated, so you're going to have to Google it because we don't have the actual URL here because they refuse to be a .com kind of website for our own enjoyment. Google Linktree, and their website will pop up. Click it. And scroll down to the bottom. You will find a search box at the bottom of the page for whatever fucking reason. I'm going to keep saying this until maybe someday Linktree will hear me and they'll move their search box to the top of the page because there's literally nothing else on you guys' website. So it would make sense for you to move the search box to the top. I digress. Linktree, their website, go there. Scroll to the bottom, click in the search box, and type in CMCT_show, wherein you will find our Linktree page. At the very top of our Linktree page, you can click on Tip Here for Raffle Tickets. Click it. And in that box, you will see 5 different options for tipping to receive a very particular amount of tickets, wherein you'll be included in the raffle for this beautiful safe that we have. I'll read this off one more time just so you know. We're raffling off a brand new Stillwater safe. Please leave your contact information in the comments when you pay. Ticket options: $5 for 1 ticket, $10 will award you 3 tickets, $20, and you'll be blessed with 7 tickets. $50 for 20 tickets and $100 for 50 tickets. If you want to get a safe where you can hide all your dirty little secrets or I don't know, you know, you might be in the, I don't know, some of that. You might want to put it up somewhere, safekeeping. So go ahead, find us there. Once again, you can tip at our Linktree page, the CMCT_show. You got 5 different options: $5, $10, $20, $50, or $100 for the corresponding amounts of tickets: 1 ticket, 3 tickets, 7 tickets, 20 tickets, and 50 tickets. Nextly, on our Linktree page, we are offering 3 different services. The very first service is a personal 2-minute video. The price is a measly $20. However, this 2-minute video can be about anything that you like. He might not wear a shirt if that's what you request. Depends. We'll talk about it. You know what I'm saying? But we can personalize this video, tailor this video 100% to your liking. Just please be respectful, be reasonable, and we will do our best to deliver the product that you are requesting. I need to change that apparently. Yep. Shit.
Okay, let me go away from that.
If you need us to motivate someone that you know, offer words of well wishes and wisdom. Again, that service is $20, and it's a 2-minute video for either of us or both of us in the same video. All your choice. Our second option that we're offering is a venting consultation. We call it a venting consultation because neither of us are
doctors.
Neither of us are doctors. Mm-hmm. We're not decorated psychologists, psychiatrists, and so forth. However, we have a good 70-something years of life experience here in this room. You know, we've both been through things, man. I've had a hell of a life. Someday I'll share more about my life story here on the show, but you're more than welcome to reach out to us for a venting consultation. And 2 things that we focus on. 1 is helping to find you a solution. That's number 1. But number 2 is just even guiding you, helping to guide you through whatever it is that you're going through. Okay? And that will be $100 per hour for either of us or both of us in the same session. 100% up to you. Lastly, our third option, a pre-recorded interview. A 15 to 20-minute interview, and it's pre-recorded because we want to ensure that we, in post-processing, can create your interview in the image that you would like. We want to make sure that you and your brand are presented well and to the best of our capabilities and as close to the vision that you would like as possible. And that is $75 again for a 15 to 20-minute pre-recorded interview here on this channel. Lastly, to clear my throat, my brother has an Instagram at DARKAN 2000. That is at Darkon 2000. He also has a Twitter at Darkon ENT. That is again at DARKANENT. I have an Instagram or 3. I'm gonna share 2 with y'all because the other one, you know what I'm saying, I can't. You got to pay for that. The current Instagram is at the.
I don't think they caught that, but they did.
Maybe they did, maybe they didn't. Somebody's gonna like it. At _dosage. That is again is at THE_DOSAGE. I also have a music Instagram wherein I share my my musical
endeavors.
You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. I'm just on there sharing the shit that comes out of my mind, man. I love art, so if you'd like to listen to some of my creations, follow me at _MA. That is again at _MA. Thank you.
Appreciate you, Antonio.
Yes, sir.
So, back on our topic, guys. We are talking, if you've just tuned in, about ignorance. Ignorance. Are you ignorant? How do you deal with people who are ignorant? I guess that's going to be some of the things that our audience would like to know. How does one deal, like if you have family members who are ignorant, or if every time you get around, like I have family members, every time I get around them, like sometimes they're too smart for their own good. How do you deal with someone that is so intelligent, but they're intelligent about the wrong thing, or they're
intelligent to their own
misguided?
demise.
Yeah, How do you deal with that?
You don't interact. Mm-hmm. Or let them talk. Some people really enjoy listening to themselves speak. Let them have it. You live to fight another day, man. At some point, you know, the different levels of maturity is not for everyone at this immediate moment. It's just things that they have to grow towards. So at some point they will get there, but it's not always your responsibility to guide them toward it.
Yeah, I've learned that a lot of times you'll stress yourself out in regards to someone that doesn't want to learn or is not able to take their mind to a higher elevated place.
Not even interested in it.
Yeah, but they think they know. So that's why I get into this thing of like, okay, a lot of times people have to be careful. You can have people who are book learned, but they ain't got no common sense. Or they don't have no street smarts. Because to me, there's 3 different levels. You got common sense, you have book sense, and then you have street sense. And street sense, teaches you how to be able to acclimate and to be able to overcome people who are looking to gang you up.
Dealing with what people actually are.
Yeah, flim-flammers, man, and scammers. the flim-flammers and the scammers. That's the thing about street smarts, I was fortunate. My mom was always one that taught us, don't fall for anybody's tricks. One of her favorite phrases is, I didn't get sold the Brooklyn Bridge. You can't sell me the Brooklyn Bridge. You know what I'm saying? You can't sell me the Brooklyn Bridge.
If you don't know that story, you should definitely look it up.
It's definitely something that people need to look up. I think a lot of times, too, a lot of people, and I was talking about this in a board day before yesterday, a lot of you are getting in trouble with the movie Tar with Cate Blanchett. Tar. It's a movie called Tar, and it's about a female conductor, okay?
Music or?
Yes.
Okay.
And the problem with the movie is that there is no such thing as a female conductor. Doesn't exist.
Is this new or is this old?
It's a new movie. She just won the Golden Globe for it. She'll probably win the Oscar for it. And people are going back and forth about it because they're like, the comedy in it is the fact that people didn't know, because when I saw it, I was like, wait a minute, female conductor, it's like a female Navy SEAL. That doesn't exist.
Why is there no female conductor? Or why
they can't pass. Female conductors.
Yeah, I know about the Navy.
Yeah, they can't pass the test. But with female conductors, the level of stress involved, which is kind of what the movie kind of talks about. So they kind of tend to tap out.
Well, yeah. About the same reason.
Yeah. Men, to hear that men are natural born leaders, there's some truth to that. I think what happens is...
Not some truth, that is the truth.
Well, yeah, you get the leadership beaten out of you as you continue to move forward in this matriarchal world as a man. But, it's funny to see people respond to what's going on with the controversy surrounding that, because it's just like a lot of people don't know. They think it's an actual biography. They did that good of a job with marketing it.
Good presentation.
Yeah. A lot of people don't know that it's not a biography. And just watching people respond to that, like, I thought it was a real biography. And it's just like, wow. It's amazing to see that. So that's a form of ignorance. And
not that they can, it's just that they haven't.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I mean...
They just haven't.
There's not a lot of people who care about conductors anyway. You know what I'm saying? Like, you ask the average person one person's name, they probably wouldn't even know one conductor because they could care less.
This nigga right here. You know what I'm saying?
But the fact that, this movie is based on a false narrative...
Yeah.
And people actually believe that it's true.
And it could be motivation to some women, and that's fine too, but the ignorance therein is, motherfucker, just go look it up.
Yeah.
It's not that hard.
Yeah. Yeah. And granted, listen, some things will never change because it's based on a certain level of success and quality. Like, conductors, man. Anyway, Joe Moulton said some folks aren't really ignorant; they're just stuck on stupid. True indeed. SOS, stuck on stupid.
That's something of its own.
Yeah. But again, how do we continue to help people understand how to deal with ignorance? Ignorance even moves towards racism because of the fact that people are ignorant of other people's cultures. I personally am very big in wanting to learn other languages because I believe that that's a way to understand cultures.
Bridge the gap a bit.
It does.
Well, there's universal human language, man.
Yeah.
Where it's not even necessarily about speaking. It's just scenario-based, circumstance-based.
Yeah. I always thought, for me personally, and primarily because, when you get into martial arts and the books that I was reading, a lot of that stuff is in Japanese and stuff. So you had to learn colloquial Japanese. You had to learn Japanese in order to be able to pronounce it better. You yourself, you're in a traditional Japanese martial arts system. You got to know that damn terminology. You can't be around your sensei and all of your other instructors and not know the terminology. And that was one of the things that I prided myself in studying and knowing terminology of all the different martial arts systems. I always just thought, if I can just learn how to say hi, in every culture, in every language, that that was a
it's
means
a barrier breaker.
It is. And so I think what has to happen, and this is something that I've said many years. There was a 2020 program where they talked. 2020 was getting it in the 80s, man. And I always thought that you have to learn how to reach people through instruction. Everyone doesn't learn the same. Some people are auditory. They learn through auditory means. Mm-hmm. Some people are more visual. Some people are more repetitive. They listen and then they speak. There's people who learn differently. And a lot of the smartest people or the most talented people are in prison. Absolutely. And I used to say this all the time. And then some doctor on 2020 did a program on it and said everything that I said verbatim, and got a Pulitzer Prize because he wrote a book about it or whatever. But he was like, a lot of unfortunately guys and women in prison are in prison because they couldn't be reached correctly. They couldn't be taught the way that they needed to be taught.
It ain't even about that. It's actually really because the prison industrial complex is not about rehabilitation.
Yeah.
It's just about
No. He was basically saying, which is what I was saying, is that the reason why they end up in prison is because you can't reach them before they get into prison. So you look at it, I've met in my life maybe 20 people who are dyslexic. I can reach them, and I knew exactly the fact that they were dyslexic. Whereas other people couldn't because either attention or they didn't understand the signs of dyslexia. And I know personally, just like stammering and stuttering is a thing that comes from psychological trauma, just like dyslexia. It's a psychological trauma that causes it. It's not that their brain is wired different and they see things different. No. There's a tremendous amount of pressure for people to perform in day-to-day activity. And that's why even when it comes to people interacting with people, when people are stammering and stuttering, they could be fine in other scenarios. But then when they got to literally perform, which is to interact with someone else, they can't do it. They stammer or they stutter horribly. And I learned that a lot of times, because of the psychological trauma that causes it, that what has to happen is you got to figure out the way to reach that person to teach them. And through my years of teaching as a martial art instructor, I learned that. I learned that everybody's reached differently. And then as an acting coach, probably the reason why I was so successful is that I realized we know that you can't teach everybody the same, right? So if you're looking at the school system, there's 30 people in a class, right, and they're all being taught the same curriculum, and they're not being reached correctly.
Well, it's just not as intimate when there's so many different people to nurture at one time.
Yeah, absolutely. Nobody said you can't lead a horse to water, but you can't make.
You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink.
Yeah, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink. Influence is stronger than control. As soon as I see someone is not open to new knowledge, I stop talking. But that's when you have to take it upon yourself. Because the thing is that if you have the superhero complex, which I know I do personally, and I am superhero complex, control freak, and empath, and an extremist. That is a recipe for disaster.
Complex of its own.
Yeah, that's a recipe for disaster. I think part of what I had to learn in life was to let go. Because we're control freaks are extremists by nature,
right?
And you want to help no matter what. You do not want to give up on anybody. You will reach this person no matter what it takes. And it's like, it's not for you to reach that person. It's not for you to change their thoughts, which is kind of why I came up with the name for Change Your Mind, Change Your Thinking, because it's like, all right, you change your thinking, your mind will change. But you got to be able to change that person's thinking first. And most people have a singular thought process. They don't see anything else. They have the blinders on. This is what they know. This is how they were raised. This is how they saw things. They don't see it any other way.
Change is terrifying to most humans, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. The fear of the unknown, typically.
So I always say, you're the same person you were when you were 5 years old. You're the same person you are when you were 5 years old. It's not that you look to change anything. You just must adapt. This is something that I teach in martial arts. You must learn to adapt. We are constantly battling with ourselves. We are constantly working on who we are in order to be able to find the highest level of self. Excuse me for that, guys, my congestion. And so when you get to a place in life where you realize, it's either I got to adjust or I have to adjust my environment. That's different, right? So if you're dealing with ignorance, right, you check into yourself to say, am I being ignorant about this situation I'm involved in? And then you say, okay, are these people ignorant in their understanding of what I'm bringing to this situation? And then you say to yourself, okay, I have to make an adjustment on one end or the other, which is I have to move away from ignorant people, or I have to find a way to adjust myself to be able to deal with the ignorance that people are bringing around me. And that's a hard thing to make peace with, because we are all taught in this society, especially today's world, that there's nothing wrong with you, that, everybody else is at fault. And so here it is, you're not being corrected, and no one really wants to take any accountability anymore. So you're dealing with a constant perpetual circle or perpetual environment of ignorance. And we see it on Instagram, we see it on Facebook, we see it in conversations. It's very interesting. I a lot of times I would just go and sit in a public place and just listen and watch people. I'm very big on that. And just to get a sense of how people's thought process is. I'm very big on other people's thoughts. Not that I care about what people think, I just like to know where their minds are at, because that's important. Nomadic Nobody said, okay, I read that already. What's going on, Flo Boy? How you doing, man? I know you got some new music coming up. Yeah, stop talking. That's the thing. It's just, you can get your point across. If they don't get it, you got to keep stepping. And we all got differences of opinions and different point of views. That's just the way it works. Yeah. Anybody else got any thoughts in regards to ignorant people and ignorant thoughts and ignorance in itself? Yeah, I think we need to get back to that space in the public schools where they teach the process of elimination, the scientific method of elimination, and finding the answer. Nomadic Nobody said, people are afraid of being wrong, but you can't learn unless you are willing to be wrong. You know what? That's funny that you say that, because it's very true. I think we see that now with things that's going on in the environment of the world. Something very obvious in your face, and it's like, okay, I don't want to be wrong, because if I'm wrong, then I made the wrong choice. That's usually why people don't want to be wrong. They want to be right. I had a friend tell me one time many years ago, and she said, you think you're right all the time. You want to be right all the time. You don't know everything. It was the greatest gift she gave me, because it showed me that it's easy once you learn it to think that you know everything, and it makes it hard for you to receive new thought processes. So what I embarked on when she told me that was a level of understanding. I had to say, okay, you know, in the Bible it says wisdom is nothing without understanding. Wisdom is nothing. You can have all the wisdom in the world. If you don't understand, you're left out. And what I started learning was that if you understand, it gives you more peace. It gives you an easier way to deal with people, because it's like, you know what? They're not going to get it. That's cool. I understand. You know, doesn't mean
you release a bit of control.
I'm telling you, man.
Can't control everything,
bro. You know, superhero complex, control freak, extremist. You know, and that's self-analyzation.
And just letting go in general. Humans have what do you say? The biggest fear is falling, right? So that shows up in just about everything that humans do, where we get our clutches in and latch on to things or people, ideas, and so forth. It's hard to let go of them.
Other than your financial stability, which we all care about, especially later in life when you, you know, the threat of looming threat of death comes around, and, you know, other than financial stability, I don't really give a fuck about hardly anything. That's one of the things that getting older gives you the gift of not giving a fuck. It really does. And, you know, one of the things as an actor, I always teach people is you can't give a fuck. As an artist, the greatest artist that ever lived really didn't care. But in a sense, they did care. There was a story. If you ever watch this video, it's a real good video to watch. 3 of the greatest musicians of all time, black musicians of all time, were in the same room. It was James Brown. James Brown was giving a performance. Michael Jackson and Prince were in the audience. And they pulled Michael Jackson up on stage. And Michael was doing Michael. You know, the band was playing, you know, James Brown band, and Michael was doing the Michael. And it was like, and so Prince and Mike always had this rivalry, right? And so Michael goes to James Brown. Prince is here. Prince is in the audience, right? And Prince is always a low-key guy. Like, at that time, he wasn't one of those people to jump up and just do anything, because he was very big on practicing, very big on rehearsal. And I didn't know that until after he died. I just thought he got up there and just did it. You know what I'm saying? No, he was very big on rehearsal. And so James Brown says, Prince is in the audience. Where he at? Where he at? So they bring Prince up on stage, right? And they give him a guitar. He doesn't know what to do. He's, you know, Michael already wowed the crowd and did his thing. And so they give him a guitar, and he's doing some stuff, but he doesn't know what to do. And then he just decides he's going to start wailing and do it. Like, it was horrible, right? And he grabs this thing and pulls this thing down on the way out. And everybody was applauding him and saying, oh, man, that was awesome. But Prince knew it was bad. And the only person that told him the truth, because he said he had a meeting about it, and he asked everybody, what did y'all think about my performance? And everybody was like, oh, yeah, you know.
You're Prince, nigga.
And the only person that told him it was bad was his engineer, Susan Rogers.
Yeah.
She was like, it was bad. He says, I know. He said, I know, right? But it's a very famous clip. And if you ever watch it, I always felt like, you know, when I watched it, you know, I was like, no, that wasn't.
He wasn't confident out of practice
at all.
Yeah.
At all. Now you give him a day, he would have practiced. He would have went up there and murdered it. Why am I saying that? And it's because opinions are for assholes. We talked about that, right? But if you don't know exactly what's going on in that moment, you're left out in the dust.
Everybody else.
You're just like everybody else. You know, so the gift of being a person with insight and foresight, this is something I always tell James, because James has amazing insight. Amazing. I was like, James, you have insight. You know, like, that's a gift. It's truly a gift. It's not, you can work on it and build it, but some people
it's
are
natural. It's just natural.
Yeah, you have insight. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's one of those things where it's like, as much knowledge as we have, in the end, to me, the higher level of understanding makes it all okay. Because it's like, I know that this person doesn't get it, right? We can look and say, okay, the sky is blue. somebody can give a scientific reason on why the sky is blue. Does it really matter? We just believe that the fucking sky is blue.
It's just blue.
But we can appreciate. It
really doesn't matter.
But listen, we can appreciate that person that can give the scientific
because they went and did the
deduction
work.
Yeah. And we can appreciate that. And so in the end, that's what I mean by understanding. For you guys to wrap everything up. In the end, when you understand that that person is ignorant because they weren't exposed, it gives you a little bit more of a peace. And so I'm a little different than I probably was in my 20s. Like now I'm just like, they don't get it. It's okay.
You afford people grace, man.
You do. You be like, it's okay. And because
what about when you didn't know?
Right. But then some of us were always in the know. See, that's the thing. I think with you, because we go back to a show when I was talking about personality. I firmly believe our personalities are intact with who we are as we're born. And then the different influences structure it, make it stronger. But some of us are chosen in the very beginning to be beings of light and beings of power. When a young prince was born, they were born into the lineage, even if they were born with adversity because of the family wanting to kill them. Yeah. They knew that they were king to be or princess to be, and they knew it growing up that they were going to, ascend to the throne.
They're born with a particular burden.
Mm-hmm. Just like the skin we're in, right? And so, but I wouldn't give it up for the world.
Of course not.
For the riches or understanding, to me, is the way to wrap it all up. If you're dealing with ignorant people, or just to know about myself, if I say that, that I'm ignorant in something, it's because I'm ignorant because I haven't been exposed to it. Now, what about people who don't want to be exposed to it? So
that's a different level of ignorance.
Yeah.
Or stupidity.
Yeah. I'm very big on traveling in a need. Like I know people who love to travel. They got to get out, see the world. They love traveling. They love going out of the country. I'm not big on it. Like I do want to go to Japan before I lose my life, and lose the breath of my life. I want to go and spend time in Japan. There's always been a certain kind of connection with me in that part of the culture. Yeah. But I'm not big on, I got to go here, I got to go there. I got to learn by going here and going there. Never been like that. Doesn't mean that I don't appreciate the cultures. Doesn't mean that there isn't things for me to see here in the United States that I want to learn. Everybody's different. What's going on, Barry? My man Nomadic Nobody said the struggle is the way. That is the way.
We got Chris said, if you want to get it right 50% of the time, go out there and get it wrong 100% of the time.
There's another person that backed on.
He's had a hell of a life.
Yeah. I mean, you listen, you're going to get a lot wrong in life. That's part of the process. I believe it all balances out, whether or not.
Well, that's the question. Is it right? Is there wrong?
No, I believe that a lot of times, we talked about it before, I'm very big on an ounce of prevention is worth its weight in cure. Like, if I don't got to get smacked in the face to know what it feels like to get smacked in the face, I'm good on that. Like, I don't, smack me. Okay, yeah, now I know how I feel. No, you could, and especially me training, I was always like that. Tom, you ain't got to, you ain't do that to the other ones. They hard-headed.
Right.
You know what I mean? I've never been hard-headed. My mama would say, she was always teaching us lessons on how to be independent. So one year she's like, all right, y'all gonna buy your own coats. We're old enough, you go buy your own coats, right? So she would give us a certain amount of money to go buy our coats. My brother went out and got a members only jacket. I went out and got a coat. He was freezing his ass.
I know he was.
It was the coldest. It was the coldest year ever in New York.
And if you don't know what a members only jacket is, nigga, get on Google, man.
Oh shit, yeah, man. Nomadic Nobody said ignorance is not knowing. Incompetence is not wanting to know. Ignorance can be cured. Yeah, I agree.
I agree with that.
Yeah, but yeah, it was just observation, right? And some of us are very powerful in our sense of knowledge through observation.
I'm one of those people.
You are.
I understand that the world is a textbook.
Yeah. But like I said, going back to understanding, I think understanding, which is a hard thing to grasp because it does take some years to get to a point of that level.
It's just letting go.
And understanding is not truly, I think people get it twisted when it is. That's my point. I think people get it twisted when they say, well, I understand. No, sometimes you don't. Sometimes you really don't understand.
Well, that's a way for them to just continue pushing with what it is that they know without actually having to take the time to understand.
Yeah.
Right? Which is why I just want to share this, right?
Mm-hmm.
We grab,
Mm-hmm.
take it.
Mm-hmm.
Grab, I'm saying take
back
yeah,
right? Yeah.
Now, if I don't let go.
Right.
What the hell is about to happen?
Right.
And if you don't know, this shit hurts. Some of y'all of my students watching, if you don't let go, when you really take it. If I don't let go, I know to let go. If I don't let go, you begin to hurt yourself, man. So you gotta know it's not always for you to have that control over imparting knowledge to others who are not looking forward.
Yeah, and it's like I said, it's a lot of it goes into self because when you're a giver, like by nature, when you're a giver, like when I learned Bojuka, man, let me tell you something, man. I learned from some of the top people in the world, man. When I learned Bojuka, because for me personally, it was what I always was looking for. Yeah. Because of my experiences, being mugged all those times in New York, multiple assailants. It was never, there were weapons involved sometimes. It was always a thing of like, yo, how do I handle this? Right. Seeing fights, seeing cats pull knives on each other, guns. How do you handle this? And, with what I was studying, it brought a lot to me, but it didn't free me. I learned Bojuka. Man, I wanted everybody to learn it. I wanted everybody. It didn't matter what your experience in the martial arts was. I wanted everybody to know it because I was just like, yo, this is the truth. This is the simplicity of it. This is it. This is what Bruce Lee was talking about. This is blah, 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 blah. And I wanted everybody to know it. And I took the charge of just, I'm going to teach the world. I'm going to teach everybody this shit called Bojuka. I'm going to, this is it. This is what you want. And then I had to realize that everybody don't want that.
Well, everybody also hasn't earned it.
That too. That
means it's of no importance to them.
When it became a thing of we had an opportunity to make it where it could be a publicized thing, we realized there's no way because there's a lot behind that. But we just realized, it can never be what Krav Maga is as far as in the publicizing of it. It can never be, what a lot of these other systems are, primarily because of what it is.
Well, because there's not much to argue about once you learn it.
Right. And so...
And humans are by nature pretty damn chaotic.
Yeah. And so that sparked a change in me because even the people who I would teach it to wouldn't continue forth with it. And I'm like, but this is the truth. No, it's my truth. And I just connected with something that was honest to me. And in regards to people being ignorant of it, they're not ignorant of it. It's just not something for them. And that's what understanding came and started giving me. Like, okay, so when I go into places, people talk about me to their students and stuff, they're looking like, how can he be this thing that you're expressing? And this happened one time. One of my guys, he's a capoeirista. He's one of the top capoeiristas in the world. And he's, he does capoeira with the top people. He's amazing. And I went to a school one day, and he sees me walk in, and he's got this class of like 15 people, and they're doing capoeira. And I'm just coming by to say hi to him, and he stops the class. He's like, you guys, this guy, this Sifu James, this is him. You have to. And I'm like, I didn't come for all of this, But I never realized the impression that I had made on him by knowing what I've known with Bojuka. And he got me up to do a demonstration. And so it's the young cat, who, he just got a sash or whatever. And he's really good. He's solid, muscle and everything. And I'm like, what do you show? You know what I'm saying? Because, Bojuka is not something that you just, you can't be flashy with it. And so he, do like, and I was like, just grab me or throw a punch. And he decided to throw a punch. And I take him down and I'm telling him to get up. He can't get up. And, I let him go. And he gets up and he's looking at me like, what just happened here? And for me, it was a thing of like, it's not for you to understand what happened here. You're doing capoeira. Stay with that until you're ready for this. If you ever are, he may never be ready for it. And I'm saying that because, like I said, when I first learned Bojuka, I wanted everybody in the whole world, men, women, children, elderly people, I wanted everybody to know it because it gave me that understanding of what I've been looking for, true control of self in a scenario where your life is in jeopardy.
Right.
And here's that gift. But everybody ain't ready for it.
Well, even like that grab, man. You know how many times I got students right now. Don't matter how many times they risk get hurt and they goddamn.
They hold on, won't let
just
go.
Let go. Just that's only I can only tell you one way.
Yeah.
Let go. Nigga, it hurts every time.
Yeah.
There is no other way for me to show you that.
Did it?
It's to them. At some point, whatever it is that they're going through is making them not let go.
What was the hardest thing for you in learning martial arts? What do you think?
I didn't have any hiccups, man.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's because I at the time that I started, it was after my car accident and all of that shit. I just...
So you were fearless at that point?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I needed it.
Yeah. For balance?
Yeah, for everything. I couldn't catch and shit after my car accident. I couldn't... so many different things I had lost. I knew that martial arts was a way to rebalance myself. Mm-hmm. And that was what I went for. So I didn't really have any, major adversities other than maybe memory problems and trying to remember the kata and all of that shit. But then eventually, the body takes over.
Yeah,
so even that doesn't matter.
Right. Yeah, no, for me, it was, I was clumsy for a long time. I'm still somewhat clumsy.
Likewise.
Yeah, you're right. But it was partly that, but mostly the fear of not knowing.
Right.
And so I'm saying this because for you guys who are listening, in order to defeat, we'll end it out on this, in order to defeat ignorance, you have to be brave enough to move forward towards knowing.
In whatever way that is.
In whatever way that is. I'm just using the martial arts as an analogy.
Just asking the question.
Yeah. And so for me, because of what happened to me as a child, I was afraid of the dark till I was 16 years old, even though I had a year of martial arts under my belt. So I used what I learned in martial arts to defeat that, which was basically getting up to go to the bathroom. You mentioned that about your sisters. I didn't, in the dark. I just punched through the dark, literally, physically punched through the dark to get from my bedroom to the bathroom. I would get up and just start punching through the dark. And it registered to me like whatever's there, if I hit it, then, I know something's there.
It's
so
at least.
At least. And then it got to a point where I didn't need to do that. But, thank God for martial arts, man. And the fact of me being brave enough to search and seek out the knowledge that helped me defeat things that haunted me for a long time. 16, afraid of the dark. You know what I mean? It's like shit.
Overcoming the fear of not knowing, man, is everything.
It is.
And that's not necessarily something that you can teach again.
No.
These levels of maturity and ascension, comes to people at different times. Mm-hmm. It hits you differently. I got family members right now, man, that I've been saying the same thing for X amount of years, and then at some point I stopped saying it. Mm-hmm. And then when they reach whatever it was that they needed, to start looking down a similar path, I was the person that they hit up.
Because they remember. They remember.
Yeah.
They remember.
But that's the importance of just putting the information out there, man. Whoever needs it will see it at some point. It's of no consequence to you.
That's it.
Well, y'all niggas have a good night. It's been a happy Tuesday. And, man, thank everyone for joining in and viewing and spending your time with us tonight.
Always. You don't want to miss Thursday. Thursday, we going in.
Thursday's going to be a little ghetto.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Fun ghetto, but ghetto as hell.
Thank you, Devin.
Appreciate you guys.
Y'all have a good night.
Absolutely. Wherever you are in this world, man, have a good night. Rest well.
Hey, man, smoke some. You know what I'm saying?
Hey.
If you're of age, because that matters.
I don't know nothing about that.
I'm looking for the song, man. Give me a second. God damn.
You've been on it lately.
Well, listen.
We take 1 week off and it's a problem.
Nah, you know what it is iPhones, their little file manager thing is stupid.
Oh, wow.
God damn. There it is. On my iPhone. All right, now y'all have a good night. Or maybe I spoke too soon.
You got to reconnect, or is it connected?
Nah, it's connected and all of this. There it is.
Yeah.
All right. Now niggas have a good night, man. Thank y'all for tuning in. Great.
It's a dope song.
All right. Muscles on his lonely back. I stay calm in fact. I've been on the grind so long, hoes can never call me that. Please keep it short. I don't speak for all the rap. I'm your mechanic. I don't want no parts of whack. Keep throwing darts and wax.
Hey man, I want to see Nino Brown when you got him up here to do
I just make it special. If you can't
do it, man.
Maybe we can do that. Have to bring the dosage.
Nino Brown, everybody gonna be like, what? You gonna bring it back?
I ain't got shit is different, man. I don't need the hook. I already got the most unique from where the most unique thing I got. Ain't nobody else walking around with that right now. Live remotes down, painting what I wrote now. I imagine it. I'ma grope the canvas. Every stroke is passionate. Ask him why he smashing shit. I'm just practicing so I can get it in when it's out. Ain't no accidents for real. Please stop the BS. For real is on purpose. For real. Everything I do this for real. Every single time. I do this for real. That's all I know. Please stop the BS. For real is on purpose. For real. Everything I do this for real. Every single time. I do this for real. You know you got an SUV. Does your tailgate and shit over? Please stop the BS. For real is on purpose. So,